I think maybe there's like a phenomenon that's been like ongoing with people who are largely isolated. And we're isolated because I do believe there's a group of people that have what I call a military grade intuition. And I'm somebody who, when I came into my awakening, I realized that, oh, there's something about me that's different than a lot of people, that I have this intuition that I've always had, that I was born with. When you're born a psychic child, you don't know any different. So, with the inhibitions that were in place over me and my life in upstate New York that I grew up, I didn't really have such a hard time, but I was severely depressed, like suicidal as a baby. Like I had suicidal thoughts as a baby. And then when I moved to Texas at 23, I feel like I felt more free, like there were more like-minded people around me, and I feel like that's when I realized in 2016 I had this ambush awakening that like, oh, there's something about me that is different from most people, but unfortunately the awareness comes in the form of rejection. Like the whole world rejects you, right? They reject you, something that's supposed to be a good thing. You're like rejected constantly and you're like that's weird because it's supposed to be a good thing. And as time goes on, it developed further and it actually turned into literally militaristic missions involving child trafficking crackdown in all the principalities of evil in America, in Austin, and going against those principalities and fighting those principalities. No weapon formed against us will prosper, but the attempts are huge over your life. And it's quite confusing for somebody who's just normal, intuitive, like a military grade intuition. And it's like there's a knee-jerk reaction from the public. They have to now decide, like, how do we feel about this person? And then in the meantime, they're like, well, we don't know. We don't know. We don't understand. We don't understand what we don't understand. But it didn't matter to me what people thought of me. I was just doing what I was doing. And you begin to lose everything and then you assimilate into ordinary life where it's very protected. God put you in a spot that's like very protected to just be a normal person. So as this algorithm of the events in social media is like really fine tuning people to their like, it's like if you want to go down that, then like you go down that, you know what I mean? Like, do you see how the algorithm is, it's like mass mind control. In America we had all this freedom, but you see that the freedom that like we didn't have was you had to be at constant war with the algorithm, which has always been a thing, and combating the mind control. In America it was like a mental asylum. We've been like living in a mental asylum for so long, and waking up to the mental asylum is like realizing that, oh, I've always been this way, but it's rejected by the world. And then you start to dissect, what exactly is it about me that is making me so rejected or accepted by the world. And I believe it's because a lot of us have this military grade intuition. People don't like it because it disrupts everything about the world. It disrupts the constructs and the systems and the worldly agreements. It really disrupts everything. So, the vengeance isn't for us individually, but for God. I'm not somebody that is like, oh, I'm seeking vengeance. No, I'll like come and do and say, and then I walk away. And I actually won't turn back to see what happened. I won't. I'm not going to look back and see what happened to these people. Maybe you'll find a big news headline a year later that for the child trafficking, it was like, yeah, the licensing of the alcohol industry did reconfigure their budget to focus on human trafficking, finding with their own investigation that it does seem that some large percentage of trafficking was happening within the alcohol industry. But it's not like I was sitting here looking for all the checkpoints and all the vengeance. It's just, no, I actually want to be like a normal person. Like, don't we all just want to be a normal people? Woodward TV did a video recently about the people that are changing, and he said that people are just getting sick of people. And it's funny how, like, the people who have this type of love, the Holy Spirit, this intuition, yeah, we can like meet each other in service and in social settings, but we're not like forming large cults. Meanwhile, why are all these large cults of thought being formed? And then a few people make it out of these large cult thought forms when you learn that it's actually 90% distraction or like deception. So it's not all bad, but the algorithm is picking up, right? The mind control is picking up. It's getting bigger, it's getting worse, or getting better, in my opinion. It's getting better, dude, because the best people are getting smarter. Like, the best people are getting more curious. Curiosity is a human trait. So if you're divergent and you come around and somebody, instead of being curious, goes to like, how can we like shame this person? How can we form a cult against this person? Those were the worst people ever. And maybe within those small groups, a few people got away because they realized that the smear campaign was just so ridiculous. It was so retarded that they were just like, they got away from it. So it all has its purpose. But all that being said, I do believe that there's a reason why they try to kill a certain tribe of people and separate and isolate. And I do believe that the people who are inspired by certain people and or are military grade intuitive themselves, they were actually just trying to live a normal life. Meanwhile, the whole world was rejecting them. And it's like, for the first time ever, it feels like I feel like I just started my life, because for the first time ever, I don't feel rejected by general society. Because if general society rejects someone like me, then that's God's will. I'm not going to sit and take notes about how much they're suffering, and I don't take interest or glory in how much they're suffering. But I feel like this was a big thing to use people to create God's judgment against those who have literally military grade intuition. And it shouldn't be a bad thing. And it's all for the kingdom. Seek first the kingdom. That's what we should have been doing all along, is seek first the kingdom. This is why I put myself out there with no avail, no regard. I put myself out there because 100% of the time, someone else has something else to add to the intuition that I pull. And not only that, I've literally had military backing, anonymous military backing, because there are militaries that are already ready to fight the battles, that if you would just say something, if you would just do something, right? If or the awareness, like the prayer, a lot of people don't even realize they're psychic intuitive. They don't. They just, because they don't know any different. I didn't know any different. I only learned different because I was like, wow, the world rejects me when I actually be myself. When I'm not actually like superimposed upon a culture that tells me to not do this and don't do that and don't ruffle these feathers. When ruffling of the feathers never was for any kind of conflict, but for that of the kingdom, that for love, that for retrieving people out of some terrible situation that they were in, that they didn't know that they were in. And that should have always been a good thing, but it is a good thing now. And that is what is inspiring most people to pull themselves out of the algorithm, right? Out of the system, out of the program, out of the matrix. Hope this all makes sense. Probably sounds pretty schizophrenic to most, but I've got this beautiful channel that God has blessed me with all of your friendship and interaction, and I think you understand what I'm saying. And there are people that have like literally military grade intuition, and we should not be shunned or threatened. Like, we shouldn't be threatened anymore. Get the frig out of here, dude. The threats are nonstop. And the desperate attempts from the other side lately are so petty. They're so petty. They're not even extreme, they're just petty because they're losing so bad. The head of the FBI had tweeted, "God bless America and all those who defend her." Now, a year ago, people would be like, "What do you mean by her?" Suspect that he meant the Whore of Babylon. But now, with the maturity that people have found, when he says her, nobody suspects that he means that great Whore of Babylon, that he means Mother America. Mother America. Nobody suspects that he doesn't mean Mother America. This country is full of pioneers who have escaped persecution time and time again. That's why you have the most powerful people in this country, because we have this military grade intuition. We're just regular people, right? We just have humanity's best interest at heart. And that should have never been fucked with. It should have never been messed with. It should have never been but God's will, it's like you would only find that out if you were like somehow come against. So that's how we figured it out. And then now it's like we figured it out as a critical mass of people. And now we're just like, I don't worry about anything. I don't worry about anything. I don't do anything to quote unquote protect my energy because no, I wish try like F around and find out. It used to be like F around and find out with them, and now it's for them to F around and find out with us. And I sense that the tables have turned where it was like in the beginning I would F around and find out about them, and now no weapon formed against me shall prosper. I see that the petty attempts from the enemy is for the other kind to F around and find out about us, because the only way they were going to find out was to F around. And they're effing around and they're finding out. And that's why they're losing their minds, going crazy, losing popularity. They are falling into detriment from choices that they made themselves. You made these decisions, you made these choices, and they're falling into detriment based on the choices that they made. This is why in the Bible it says, "Come away from her, my people." Stop helping people who are literally falling into the detriment of choices that they themselves made. They made those decisions, and they're reaping the consequences of the decisions that they made, and they're monumental because you are on the final frontier that is America. So, absolutely, God bless America and anybody who defends her. There's a new her, right? There's a new culture. I think you understand what I mean. That's it for now. Have a great night. Talk to you again really soon.